Hello everyone, welcome to MES e-learning channel. In this video, we are going to write a program in C to find the transpose of a given square matrix of order n without using an additional matrix. So, for a matrix, we will have to take an array which is two-dimensional. So, what is a two-dimensional array? A two-dimensional array will have rows and columns. Okay? As the order is n, let us say n is 3. So, we will have a 3 cross 3 matrix which will look like this. Let us say the elements are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8, 9 inside the matrix. Here we have rows and these are the columns, right. So, this is, so for us to understand the array, we will have to understand what is indexing. This is the 0th row, this is the first row, this is the second row. In arrays, indexing starts with 0. Indexing is nothing but the position. So, the position of this particular column is 0, this is 1 and this is 2. So, what is the index of this element inside the array? It is 0th row and 0th column. For 2, it is 0th row and first column, because it is in the 0 row and it is at the first column. So, 0 and 1. This is how you will access each element inside your array. So, for the second row, it is going to be 1 and 0, because it is in the first row and 0th column and so on. So, this is how you will be able to access each element inside your array. So, when you say that you have to find the transpose of the matrix, if this is our given matrix, this is how our transpose matrix should look like. Okay. So, when you say transpose, row elements become column element. So, this row will come in this column. So, here you will have 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6 values in the row will come in the second column. It will become 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8, 9. So, this is how the transposed matrix will look. Okay. So, I hope you have understood what is the transpose of a matrix. Now, let us try to write a program for the same. So, initially we have to attach our header files. Okay. So, if you are using Turbo C++ compiler, you will have to attach an additional header file conio.h, which means console input I and output. Okay. So, it is required. If you are not using Turbo C++ compiler, it is okay if you skip this particular header. So, I am writing it conio.h and then we will write int main. Now, main is a function which indicates the start of your program. Okay. So, here we will be declaring variables which are required inside this particular program. Okay. So, we will be using for loops and within those for loops we will have iterators I and j. So, that I am declaring at the beginning itself. So, the data type of those iterators is integer, that is why we are writing int I comma j. Then we also have to declare our array which is also of the data type integer, that is why we have written int and the name of the array which is a, and then we will specify the size of the array. So, it is 3 and 3 because we have 3 rows and 3 columns and then we put a semicolon. Then we write clear screen. Now, clear screen is CLR SCR, it will clear your console, okay, output console. If it has any previous outputs displayed, it will clear those. Now, after that we will have to ask the user to enter the elements of the matrix. So, we will have to write a printf statement. You will write the statement inside double quotes. Okay. So, enter the elements of the matrix. Okay. At the end we will put slash and n for new line, so that the next line that is printed on the output console will go on new line instead of being pasted just beside this particular line. Okay. So, here we have asked the user to enter the elements of the matrix. So, for them to be able to enter the elements, we will have to use a scanf statement. But before that, as we are taking all the values of the array, we will be using for loop to access each element of the array. So, for that we are using for loop. So, for that we will use two for loops. So, the first for loop is going to be for rows. So, iterator I is for rows. So, this will be our outer for loop, and j is for columns. Okay. This is for your inner for loop. Okay. So, for rows start from 0, then we have first row, and then second row we have 0 column 1 and 2. That is why I will start at 0, I should be less than 3, so that it will be able to take 0, 1 and 2 values, and we will increment the value in each iteration. Similarly, for columns, j will start from 0, j should be less than 3 and j plus plus. Okay. So, if this particular condition that you write here is true, now in this case I is 0. So, is 0 less than 3? Yes. So, it will get inside here, inside this for loop, in the inner for loop, j is equal to 0. Again it will check if 0 is less than 3, yes, the condition is true. In that case it will come inside here, and what are we doing here? We are taking the value of the elements inside the array. So, we are writing scanf, then we will specify the format specifier, that is %d, since the elements inside the array are of which data type? Integer data type. That is why %d, then you put a comma, and then you write ampersand a, I and j, correct. So, when I is 0 and j is 0, whatever the user enters, that value will be saved for that location. So, this is 0, 0 location. So, whatever is entered will be saved here. In the next iteration, what will happen? After this curly brace, it will go back to the for loop. It will increment the value of j. It will make j's value 1. Again, it will check if 1 is less than 3. Yes, it is true. So, what will happen? I is still 0. Inner loop is incrementing now. So, j will become 1. Whatever the user enters here is saved in 0, 1 position, and so on. So, this will happen till j is equal to 2. Once j becomes 3, this condition becomes false. So, what happens? It comes to this curly brace, which is for the outer for loop, and then it will go back to the outer for loop. It will now increment the value of this iterator I, and it will make it 1. Check this condition. If it is true, the inner for loop will be executed again, right. So, this is how you will be able to take the value of all the elements of your matrix. Okay. So, once you have taken the values of the matrix, now you have to print your transpose matrix. So, what are we printing? We will write print f, and we will write transpose of the matrix, okay, is, and then we can write slash n, close the quotes, close the bracket, and then semicolon, and then we will write a for loop. Now, again we have to print each element here. So, again we can use the same two for loops, the outer and inner for loops. Yes. So, I will start from 0, I will be less than 3 and I plus plus. Yes, then you will write for j, j is equal to 0, j is less than 3 and j plus plus. Inside your inner for loop, you will print. Now, while printing, we want to print transpose of the matrix, right. So, what are we going to do? We are going to print matrix elements, right. So, we are going to print the matrix elements. The matrix name is A, and here what we will do? We will print J and I. Now, what exactly are we doing here? Let us try to understand. Now, here suppose this is my matrix A and these are the elements in the matrix 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8, 9. This is 0, 1, 2 as I told you, this is 0, 1 and 2 as I told you, right. So, now what are we going to do? We are going to print it like this. So, what are we exactly going to do? Now, in the first iteration I is equal to 0, this condition is true and then j is also 0, correct. So, what it is going to do? A of j and I. So, j is 0, I is also 0, right. So, what is going to be printed here in the transpose matrix? A00 is going to be printed, right. So, it will print 1 because what is there in the matrix at 00 position? This one. Then next what it has to print here. So, what it is going to print in the next iteration? It will increment the value of j will become 1. Is 1 less than 3? Yes, it will print again. What it is going to print? Ji. So, j's value is 1 now, I is 0. So, what is there in A of j A of 1 0? It is 4. So, what it is going to print here? 4. Next again j's value will be incremented to 2. Is 2 less than 3? Yes. So, what is there in 2 0 in the matrix? It is 7. So, 7 will be printed here. Okay. So, printing happens like this in rows. That is why it is able to print 1 4 7 now. Are we getting the transpose? Yes. Now, these elements are printed here. In the next iteration, i's value will become 1, right. So, it will be able to print the elements in the first row, which will be 2, 5 and 8, right. So, j's value will change from 0 to 1 to 2. So, it will be able to print 0th column, first column and second column values for first row, and then in the last iteration i's value will become 2. It will be able to print the values in this row. So, first it will print 3 when j is 0, it will print 6 when j is 1 and it will print 9 when j is equal to 2, correct. So, when j becomes 3, this condition becomes false. It goes back up to the outer for, again i's value becomes 3, it turns to be false, right, and hence it comes out of both the inner and outer for loops. We have achieved the transpose of the matrix, right. So, we will close the program by writing get ch. Yes, this you will write only if you are attaching the header file conio.h. If not, you can eliminate it, and then you will write return 0, right. Return 0 because at the beginning we have used int main, correct. So, if you are using int main, you will have to write return 0 at the end because it is returning nothing at the end, hai na? And then if you want, you can also write void main in place of int main. If you are writing void main, there is no need of writing return 0. So, here I have typed the code for taking transpose of a matrix without using any extra matrix, okay. So, I have typed the entire code over here, right. I have initialized and declared my array, right. I have taken the elements here, right. Here I am displaying the transpose matrix as I explained to you. After typing the code, you will press F2 to save the code, or you can go here also in file and click on save, right, but you can directly, I would suggest using the keyboard, the short keys on the keyboard. So, F2 to save your code, Alt and F9 to compile, to check if there are any errors. Here we do not have any errors, so we will press any key, right. After that, to run our code, we will press Ctrl F9. After that, our output console is open now. So, here it is asking us to enter the elements of the matrix. Now, since our matrix is of size 3 cross 3, it will have a total of 9 elements. So, I have to enter 9 elements, right. So, those 9 elements I am entering. You can enter any elements of your choice. So, these are the elements that I am entering. Okay, so, I have entered total 9 elements as it is a 3 cross 3 matrix. After entering all the values of the elements, I will press enter, and then this is the transpose of my entered matrix, correct. So, I hope you have understood the code. If you have any doubt, you can ask it in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.